a seat, sip some wisdom, and stay a while. This is the Prosperity Lounge, where growth gets personal. Step inside, we're breaking chains. Hey everybody, good morning. We are getting ready to go live. A few minutes away, next minute or two away. Last song probably. Got headsets for today. See how that works. Everybody can hear me good. Thanks for joining. All right. So this is the last show on Saturday morning, guys. You guys will be in there on Friday nights going forward, 6 to 7 p.m. Friday night Eastern time. So I hope to see everybody there. Hopefully get something good out of this. Start shortly here, going live soon. Got my windscreen today. Hopefully that works better. All right, here we go, guys. Theme song's playing. You guys don't get to hear it, but I do. This is the Prosperity Lounge, where hope meets freedom, growth gets personal. I'm Joey Ruffalo, JR Financial Coaching, best-selling author, coach, and nationally recognized business growth strategist. And whether you're tuning in live on 96.3 FM or catching the replay on your favorite podcast platform, I'm so glad you pulled up a chair. I help people take back control of their finances and build lives of purpose. For business owners, I specialize in uncovering hidden revenue, often finding $100,000 or more through simple, no-cost strategies. And for everyday individuals and families, I help you rediscover your relationship with money, shifting from survival mode to a life of clarity, peace, and purpose. Each week, we explore practical strategies around money, mindset, business, and wellness. Because prosperity isn't just about your bank account. It's about freedom in every area of your life. If you're ready for real tools and real support, I encourage you to visit us at theprosperitylounge.com. You'll find our contact information, our free 8-step guide to stop living paycheck to paycheck, our student loan survival guide, and our powerful budgeting tool, the Prosperity Planner. I'm always in there answering questions as well. And speaking of questions, if you have any for us during the show, give us a call at 865-577-4885 or send us a text at 865-236-1791. We'd love to hear your questions, your stories, your wins. You could also join us on the live stream on our YouTube channel at the Prosperity Lounge. Come on in, join the conversation with others from around the country, and subscribe. If you missed any of our episodes, you can check them out on your favorite podcast apps like Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and so much more. Just look for the Prosperity Lounge radio show. Now, I know you've been hanging with us for the first 4 episodes as we get our feet wet here, we get going and build some momentum. And if you've been with us, you know we've laid the groundwork. Groundwork from budgeting to values, to side hustles, to communication. Talked about student loans. But today we're going straight into one of the most transformational practical and personal topics in your financial journey. That four-letter word, debt. Because let's be real, it's hard to plan for your future when you're chained to the past. So today we're going to unpack debt payoff strategies that actually work, how to choose the right one for you, why it's often smarter to focus on debt, controversy here, before retirement savings, and what the experts don't tell you about debt freedom. Let me start with this. You can't build a house on a swamp. And debt, man, that's financial quicksand. You might be making ends meet, paying the bills, even saving a little. But if high interest debt is in the background, it's eating away at your foundation. And remember what I've been saying, the budget is the foundation upon which your financial house is built. And debt is rotting your foundation. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Every dollar you use to pay down debt is a guaranteed return. No stock market gamble, no crypto drama, just pure freedom. When you pay off $1,000 credit card debt at 24% interest, it's like getting a 24% return on your money. I haven't seen a retirement account with those odds. But it's more than just math, believe me. Debt is emotional. It keeps you up at night. It steals your peace, your confidence, and your options. And here's the sneaky part. Minimum payments are not a plan. They're a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not getting anywhere. If you stay on that treadmill too long, you're going to get tired and fall off and hurt yourself. I remember laying awake at night wondering what was going to happen next. Was the car going to get repoed? How many phone calls will I get tomorrow? How many different creditors? Who were the creditors calling? I didn't want anyone to know about my business, but they sure did call everyone associated with me looking for me. My parents, uncles, in-laws, even acquaintances. They just didn't call them directly. They called their jobs, which made the situation even more uncomfortable. I told this in a previous show, but how my health suffered as a result of this. Weight gain, chest pains, headaches, stomach pains, everything. I say this not for you to feel sorry for me, but to hear me. You are not alone. You have knowledge behind you now. You have a plan. And more importantly, you have hope. The weight of these balances feels like a monster, like you're dragging a ball and chain behind you that weighs a ton. If that's you, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not your debt, but you are responsible for defeating it. And today, we're going to give you a battle plan. All right. Now we've talked about why paying off debt is the ultimate wealth move. Let's talk about how to do it. There's a lot of methods out there, but let's break down into 4 core strategies, and it'll help you pick the one that's right for you. The first one is all about momentum. It's the debt snowball method. You pay off your smallest balance first, regardless of interest rate. Why? Because wins matter. When you knock out a bill, even a small one, it builds confidence. You feel progress. You stay motivated. For example, you owe $200 on a card, $800 on another, $2,000 on a third. Start with the $200 one. Knock it out. Get rid of it. Feel the win. And then roll that payment into the next one. And keep going. Next, This is like they call the one for the math nerds out there. It's called the avalanche method. So instead of paying the smallest balance first, like the snowball, you focus on the highest interest rate first. This one will save you money over time, especially if you're carrying credit cards with double-digit interest rates. If you're disciplined and want to optimize every dollar, this one's for you. The wins, not as fast. So it may take you longer to get a win, and your momentum may be sacrificed. So take that into consideration when you're thinking about, are you motivated more by, what is your motivation? You motivated by wins? You need those goals to move forward? Then stick with the snowball method. Out of those two. Okay, next is the hybrid method. Hybrid method is one of those things where it's behavior meets math. So it's kind of a combo of the two. Start with a small win, like the snowball method, and then pivot to a high interest balance, like the avalanche. You get the best of both worlds, motivation and efficiency. But let me just say this again. Personal finance is personal. The best method is the one you will stick with. It's just like going to a gym and having a trainer. They give you a plan. They tell you what you're going to do. They tell you your goal weight's going to be on a certain date. You're going to lift so many weights, etc. You're going to lose so many pounds by a certain date. Sounds great. But you got to do the work and you got to stick with it. If you don't, you're not going to hit your goals and you have no one to blame but yourself. Finally, there's a couple other options that are available for people. These are less popular, but I'd like to tell you about them anyway here. So let's say you're drowning in high interest credit card debt, and you might want to tighten the rope a little bit and pull those balances into something more manageable. So you have options are balance transfer cards. You've seen those offers that come in the mail, 0% for 15 months. If you put it on this card, et cetera, et cetera. Those can help if you're disciplined, but there's a lot of fees and a payoff timeline. If you don't think you're going to pay off this balance in 15 months because it's 0%, you're probably not going to pay it off. So then that becomes a high interest rate card again, and then you're looking for another 0% card, and you're playing the balance transfer game. And those can get expensive because of fees and the cost behind it. And then also, you can only get so much credit to do it with, so be careful. Next is about debt consolidation loans. So debt consolidation loans roll multiple debts into one monthly payment, ideally at a lower rate than what you've been paying now. Typically what happens is you will roll them in, and you pretty much roll all your debt in. So you might be rolling in debt that's 12%, 15%, 20%. But also debt that's maybe 1%, 2%, 3%, like low interest debt. But you're rolling that all into a debt that's like 7% or 8% or 10%, let's say. So you're sacrificing some lower interest rates. You're moving them higher to get some of the higher interest rates lower. Lastly, and this is actually a good tip for everybody, is call your lender. Just give them a call. They have hardship plans in place. They have lower interest rates available. They have payment plans available. Just having a conversation with them, you'd be surprised what you can unlock. So give them a call. Every dollar you save in interest is another dollar working for you instead of the bank. Now, these options, like I said, could be risky, especially the balance transfer game and debt consolidation, because you're more than likely putting a Band-Aid on a situation and not tackling the real issue. I have seen and worked with individuals who have had multiple consolidation loans because they never got to the root cause of why they spent. These individuals usually kick the can down the road, but in an effort to be transparent and share knowledge with you, I'm mentioning them here. I teach my clients to use the debt snowball method, which is what I use to get out of $370,000 in debt. I would still call your lender and see if they can work something out with them on the interest rates. That's what I did too. You call the lenders, see if you can get them down, put them in the plan, and just let them know, hey, I'm working this plan and I'm going to get to you at this point and let's work something out. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. You get somebody who's, you might have to call a few times till you get to the right person. When you get to the right person, they definitely help you out. More times than not. You just have to be persistent. I remember from previous episodes, being proactive rather than reactive. So be proactive, give them a call ahead of time, work in the plan. My financial, just tell them your financial coach told you to call. That's true. I'm telling you to call. So quick, give them a call. All right. Now here's the hot one. The one I get asked all the time, almost weekly. Should I pause retirement contributions while paying off debt? The answer, you ready? Drum roll. It depends. But let's unpack it in a way that makes real life sense. But let's start with a standard advice. Your job offers a 401k match. That's free money. You don't want to leave that money on the table unless things are really, really tight. Even pausing down to the minimum needed to get the match can still keep you in the game while freeing up margin. But really, let's be real here. If you're drowning in 20% interest credit card debt, while your retirement fund earns 6 to 8%, you're losing money. You're saving pennies while hemorrhaging dollars. So rule of thumb, if your debt interest rate is over 7%, usually smarter to focus on debt, especially if you're living paycheck to paycheck or worse, using credit cards to survive. In these two situations, it's okay, even wise, to pause your retirement contributions for 12 to 24 months, but only if you're using the pause with intensity and purpose. I don't want you pausing just to coast. I want you pausing to attack, to go full throttle at your debt, everything you got. This is about momentum. It's about focus. It's about giving your future a fighting chance. Let's not forget what Proverbs says. The borrower is slave to the lender. You can't build long-term wealth while living in chains. And I want a better you for you. That pause, it's part of the plan. It's a temporary tactical retreat that leads to long-term victory. Once the debt is gone, you don't just ease back into savings. You relaunch hard. It's called the rebound plan here. Resume contributions immediately. Boost your percentage. Challenge yourself to catch up on the surge ahead. Set a new goal. Maybe maxing out your Roth IRA or increasing your 401k to 15%. It's like a slingshot. You pull back with discipline and then launch forward with power. So yes, sometimes you pause retirement, not because you're giving up on your future, but because you're clearing the road to actually reach it. But here's something else to consider. How close to retirement are you? Because you're on the timeline really matters. If you're in your 20s or 30s, hitting pause on retirement for a year or two to tackle debt won't destroy your future. You've got decades of compound growth ahead of you. What matters more right now is building a stable financial foundation and eliminating high interest burdens to keep you stuck. But if in your 50s or early 60s, that pause becomes riskier. Time is shorter. You don't have many years left to ride the wave of compound interest and bounce back from a delay. In that case, we need a more nuanced strategy. Maybe reduce contributions slightly instead of pausing entirely, or funnel bonuses, tax refunds, or even side hustle income exclusively towards debt so your retirement fund stays intact. According to Vanguard's 2023 retirement report, the average 65-year-old retiree has just $280,000 saved. But many experts estimate you'll need over $1 million or more to maintain your standard of living without stress. So yes, debt freedom is crucial, but don't sacrifice your future stability if you're close to the finish line. Right now, the average credit card interest rate in 2024 was 22.8% and climbing. Meanwhile, the average stock market return over the past 30 years is about 8 to 10%. That means every $1,000 in credit card debt, you carry a cost of over $225 a year, just in interest. When you put those numbers aside, the math becomes clear. Paying off high interest debt is your best investment you can make, at least for now. So let's bring this all together. If you're early in your career and drowning in high interest debt, a pause makes sense. Just intentional. You get back in the game once the chains are off. If you're closer to retirement, stay strategic. Even small contributions can keep the momentum alive while you knock out the final balances. Because the ultimate goal isn't just to retire, it's to retire with freedom, options, and peace. I know you've been hanging with us for a few episodes now, and if there's one thing you heard me say over and over, it's this: you need a plan. Not a perfect plan, just a real one you'll actually follow. So let's break down how to stick with your debt payoff strategy. Use a trackable system, whether it's the prosperity planner that we offer free for 30 days, a spreadsheet, a notebook. You've got to see the progress. What gets tracked gets changed. How many times have you said to yourself, I've had a budget, but I've gone and blown it? Remember, the budget is the foundation upon which your financial house is built. Create a debt-free date. Even if it's a rough estimate, circle it on your calendar. A target makes the journey real. It gives you something to aim for. Set monthly payoff goals. Instead of saying, I want to be debt-free, get specific. I'm paying off $300 this month. I'm going to pay off this small credit card. I'm going to use cash this week. That level of clarity changes everything. Celebrate the small wins. Every $100 you pay, every paid off card, every $100 you save, every avoided impulse purchase, count them. Motivation builds momentum. And get accountability, whether it's your spouse, a friend, or the Prosperity Lounge community. Don't go at it alone. Debt thrives in isolation. Freedom grows in community. I'm going to say that again. Debt thrives in isolation, and freedom grows in community. Powerful. The truth is, you're not just paying off debt. You're proving to yourself that you can do hard things and win. Now, one of the best parts of the Prosperity Lounge is the community we're building. People asking real questions, sharing their stories, growing together. I pulled a few of the best questions that came in this week. So let's jump into the Q&A and see how we can move you forward. And hey, if you want to be part of the show, it's easy. Follow me on Instagram at JR Financial Coach, or you can follow the show at the Prosperity Lounge. Subscribe to the Prosperity Lounge YouTube channel. You get clips from the show, you get full episodes, you get the podcast replay, everything there. Join the conversation at theprosperitylounge.com. If you use promo code RADIO when you sign up, you'll get our free 8-step action guide on how to stop living paycheck to paycheck sent directly to your inbox. Now drop your questions inside the lounge or send them to us directly. We might just feature you next. All right, our first question comes in from Amanda from Knoxville. She texted in during the show last week and asked, should I pay off my car loan early, even if the interest is low? That's a great question, Amanda. Thanks. It depends on the numbers and your peace of mind. If the interest rate is, say, under 4% and the payment isn't stretching you thin, focus on the higher interest debts first. But if it's causing you stress and you just want it gone, pay it off, free up that monthly cash flow. So it also depends on where you are in the debt snowball, if you're using that method, for example. If it's the lowest payment you have, then that's what you would go for. It also depends on how much you have remaining. So it might be a situation that during a normal debt snowball where you're lining up your debts lowest to highest and paying off the lowest one, let's say your car payoff is going to take you, in that situation, 18 months. But if you move it first, it's going to take you, let's say, 6 months, because you're going to be real aggressive towards it. Then it might make sense to move it towards the front of the line, because then it frees up a larger payment, because car payments are usually pretty high. I think the average car payment is over $700 a month now. And that will give you some breathing room in your budget to put somebody back into your budget so you're not getting back into debt or running a thinner margin, and then have a huger amount of money to roll into the next step, which then will help you tackle those smaller debts faster. Thanks for asking. Marcus dropped a comment on one of our YouTube channel pages and asked, what about medical debt? Well, Marcus, that's a great question. Medical debt is one of those few debts that's usually negotiable. Call your provider, ask for a lump sum discount, get a zero interest payment plan. Also, ask to check the hospital for charity care programs. All hospitals are required to offer them, but they don't always tell you about them. There's some options there as well. And review your credit report. Now, why I'm asking you to do that on a medical debt? Review for errors. A lot of times there's mistakes made, or they put the wrong amount down, or they're not tracking that you've paid it off, and that could really hurt you as well. So always review your credit report. And if you're in the process of paying them, they just go in the order of the debt snowball from lowest to highest, so you don't have to worry. This is a good one here too. This is from Karen, who wrote us on Instagram from Johnson City. Actually asked us, should I use my savings to pay off debt? Karen, this one comes up a lot. Short answer is yes, but not all of it. You want to keep what's called a mini emergency fund, usually between $1,000 and $2,000, and then use what's left to pay off the debt. That way, you don't end up right back in debt when life throws you a curveball. Now, many people use the $1,000 as a benchmark. It's part of that quick win process. You set a goal and quickly get there, setting up momentum, start tackling debt. I like the $1,000 level. However, I usually tell my clients, let's get to the 1,000 first. And then, for example, if they have children, we might add a little bit more, since kids can get expensive, especially with emergency room visits and last minute shopping for gifts and parties you didn't know about. In that situation, I usually tell them to earmark an additional $500 per child. Now, I don't want this to derail you from starting to pay off your debt. So let's hit the $1,000 and then go from there. Well, looks like we're almost to the end of our time together today. So let me leave you with this. And thank you for all the questions. Debt steals your future. But every payment you make is a punchback. A step towards peace, a step towards power, a step towards freedom. And you don't have to do it alone. If you're ready to take control, head to theprosperitylounge.com. Download our free budget tool, the Prosperity Planner. It's free for 30 days. Plug in your numbers. Let's start today. And if this episode helped you, would you do me a favor? Share it with one friend who needs a win right now. We all rise together. And I got some big news for you guys. Starting next week, we'll now be heard on Friday evenings from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on Praise 96.3 FM, as well as our usual spot on YouTube. So I hope you'll join in and listen live on the radio, the Praise 96.3 app, or join the conversation happening on the YouTube live stream. It's a great way to connect with me and other listeners, as well as to get your questions heard. Until next time, stay faithful, stay fearless, and remember, freedom lives where faith and action meet. The lounge is always open, and so is your next breakthrough. This is the Prosperity Lounge. Thanks, guys. See you next week.